Hey guys, welcome back to not only another build video, but the first build video of Year 7 Season 1 and the Battle for Brooklyn. So in this video I'll be showing you a backfire build with almost 100% hazard protection. That's not only going to mitigate the backfire's bleed damage, but also makes you almost invulnerable to fire damage. With this season's modifiers giving you hazard protection, it allows this build to be more powerful than ever. So with that, let's take a look at this build. Alright, so for this build, I'm going to be using one piece of Cavalier, the Ninja Bike backpack, one piece of Cheska, and 3 pieces of Hunter's Fury. So first, let's look at the Ninja Bike backpack. This is going to give 3 core attributes, weapon damage, armor, and a skill tier. And I have a crit damage mod on here, and this has the talent Resourceful. And this is going to unlock the next bonus for each piece of gear that you're wearing. So now let's look at the 2 pieces that are going to be giving us most of our hazard protection. So the mask is the Cavalier mask, and the 2-piece bonus gives us 30% hazard protection. We have the 2-piece bonus because we're wearing the Ninja Bike backpack. Then if I scroll down, I'm going to have weapon damage, crit damage, and a crit damage mod on here. Then for the chest, I'm going to be using one piece of Cheska. This is going to give plus 8% crit chance, and then because of the Ninja Bike backpack, I'm going to have this plus 20% hazard protection as well. And this has weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and I have a crit damage mod on here. And since this is going to be a high crit chance build, I'm going to have Obliterate on here. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. So just between the chest and the mask, you're going to be getting 50% hazard protection. Then the rest of the gear is going to be the Hunter's Fury gear set. So if we take a look at the gloves, the 2-piece bonus is going to give us shotgun and SMG damage, 3-piece armor on kill, health on kill, and then the 4-piece is going to be Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. And then killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So when you're within 15 meters of an enemy, they'll have this icon above their head, and then when you kill one, it'll disorient the enemies around them. And then the green icon underneath the ammo bar is the stack counter. Now 5 stacks. So if I scroll down, I have weapon damage and crit damage. Then on the holster, I have armor, crit damage, and the knee pads, armor, crit damage. Then for the weapon, I'm using the backfire. This has 15 expertise in it. Has SMG damage, crit chance, and damage to targets out of cover. And it has the talent Payment in Kind. Dealing damage to enemies adds a stack of 2% crit hit damage up to 100 stacks lasting 10 seconds. So at max stacks you're going to have an additional 200% crit damage. Then on reload, apply 10-second bleed to yourself, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack. But all of our hazard protection is going to bring that down to 2 seconds at the most, and nothing when we're at full stamina. So this is how long the bleed is going to last, with the worst case scenario of 200 backfire stacks and baseline stamina. Then for the secondary, I don't really use it, but I've got the rock and roll shotgun here. For the skills, you can use whatever you want in this build. I usually use the Reviver Hive, but in this case I'm just using the Fixer Drone right now. So I have duration, health, and damage reduction on here, but this damage reduction one doesn't really do anything in this build. And this is at tier 1. And then I'm also using the Crusader Shield. I like to use it because you are kind of weak when you don't have Hunter's Fury stacks yet, and I also don't really play behind cover, so even though this build has decent armor, I can still take a lot of damage while running around out in the open. So for the mods on this, I have active regeneration, holstered regeneration, and this is at tier 4. So this is going to give an additional plus 40% active regeneration, plus 150% shield health, plus 20% holstered regeneration. And then since I use the shield so much, I put 20 expertise in here. That's going to give me an additional plus 20% active regeneration. So for the modifiers, the active modifier I'm using is Security Link. And this says your stamina attribute is set to 5. For the duration of the ability, you gain 60,000 total armor for every non-blue core equipped. So in this build, I have 5 non-blue cores. So when I activate this, I'm going to get an additional 300,000 armor. Then the second part says attributes are frozen and bonuses are multiplied by 4. So if we look at the global modifiers, these are what the bonuses are. So let's say you have all 3 of these at tier 5. So firearms would be 10%, and then it would be multiplied by 4, giving you an additional 40% crit chance. Then stamina multiplied by 4, electronics multiplied by 4. And then the last part says the passive modifiers will be multiplied by 2. So anything you've got on here is going to be doubled. So for the first passive modifier, I'm using Multitasker. This says while at tier 5 in all attributes, receive plus 7.5% weapon damage, plus 85,000 armor, and plus 1 skill tier. So I'm using this because I generally don't use my active modifier except for on bosses. So when I'm running around out in the open world, I just keep all my bonuses at tier 5. That way I always have this buff. And then when a boss spawns, I'll use my active modifier. Then the next passive I'm going to be using is Loaded Up, and this is going to give you 25% of your crit chance value as crit damage while you're at tier 5. And again, since I keep my bonuses at tier 5 while I'm running around out in the open world, I'm going to have this buff up pretty much all the time. And then the last passive modifier is Safety First. And this is going to give an additional 7.5% hazard protection for each stamina tier. So when we're at baseline stamina, we're going to have 75% hazard protection. But when you get this up to tier 5, you're going to have 97.5% hazard protection. So now if we look at the stats, this is all going to be baseline stats. So first I have 65% crit chance, 151.4% crit damage, and 1.3 million armor, 392,000 armor on kill, and 75% hazard protection. Now here's what it's going to look like when you're running around on tier 5 with all the bonuses. So I have 70% crit chance, 168.9% crit damage, and 97.5% hazard protection. And now this is what it looks like when you're at full bonuses when you hit your active modifier. So full bonus to the body, about 1.1 million. To the head, about 1.3 million. Then hit the active modifier, 1.4 million to the head, 1.26 million to the body. And then we have 100% crit chance, 401% crit damage, and the hazard protection is actually way over at 135, and then up here at 1.8 million armor. Then lastly is the specialization. I'm using Gunner mainly for this armor on kill, and then make sure you have the proper weapon selected here for an additional 15% weapon damage. So that's the build, guys. Pretty fun, since not only does the hazard protection protect you from the Backfire's bleed, it also prevents almost all fire damage, which so happens to be very convenient with all the cleaners in the new Battle for Brooklyn DLC. But anyway, try it out, let me know what you think, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Incoming hostiles detected. Reinforcements have arrived. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Heavily armored hostile detected. Hostile supply convoy detected. Incoming hostiles detected. Immediate medical assistance needed. There you are.
Hostiles flank me! Watch your side!
Heavily armored hostile detected.
We're done! Let's go home.
Supply room access unlocked.